everyone, and welcome back to Anime-chan. Today we're watching Attack on Titan episode... Let me just check real quick. Attack on Titan season 3 episode 57. That day. So... Oh, let me just... I'm so bad at this intro thing because I'm so nervous to get started with these always. That day sounds big. It sounds like it's cataclysmic. I don't even know if that's a word. Because I don't think catalytic is. Catalytic? Cataclysmic. It's going to be a big episode. Maybe not in terms of action, but there's going to be some important information I can already tell by the title. That day. What day? One thing I did want to point out before I get started watching the episode is in the last episode at the end, I talked about the sash thing they wore around their arm. I said that it made me think of something from the Holocaust. And the only reason I knew about that was because in high school, can I not talk today? In high school, my teacher, English teacher, made us watch Schindler's List. She was like really passionate about stuff, like a lot of those kinds of themes in human history. And Schindler's List was one of the things she made us watch. American History X. I'm sure there was a couple of others, and it all had these kind of themes. It was like she wanted to teach us something. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because my brain jumped to the Holocaust because of the David Starr. I'm not sure exactly the exact history behind all of it, but like I said in the last video, it was to, you know, demean a certain group of people. But I wanted to point out that that kind of treatment onto other people or towards other people, the Holocaust was a big thing, and it's something we all remember and know about. Well, most of us do, but definitely not the only case of, like, it's actually, if you look at every single country, there is similar things. It may not always be about race, it may not always be about religion, but there's always discrimination. It's almost like it's part of our code or some shit. Like, we discriminate when something is other than us, and often there's this fear and you other things and people and beliefs and whatever, and you start fearing it, like whatever is gonna endanger my livelihood, my family, and there's so much more I could say on this topic, but this is the intro of the video. I'm already rambling. I just wanted to make sure you guys know that yes, it made me think of the Holocaust first, but that kind of discrimination and that kind of stuff happened all throughout history amongst all kinds of people. Discriminating is kind of part of who we are, and it's used often as an excuse for a lot of things. And I think maybe this anime addresses that part of human nature, and I said maybe it's natural, but does it have to be? You know, and so, even though something might come with an automatic setting, you can always change it when you buy something. Like, it comes and there's default settings, but you can go in and change those default settings if you're just aware how to do that. Like, what are the default settings now, and do I want to change them? Do they need to be changed? Can I improve? Like, can I make the settings better? And I think maybe that's something the anime is trying to do. I don't know. But here we go. I'm gonna watch. Sorry for the long intro. That was the wrong one. There we go. Oh. Sorry, this is me. I talk a lot. The reason I wanted to point out that although my thoughts went to like the Holocaust first and stuff, it's very dangerous to like pin a specific part of history as, you know, the worst case of that or the only case of that. And it's dangerous to start thinking of, let's say, German people as a people that did that. Because remember, it's not any kind of discrimination like that, any kind of othering like that is already dangerous. Like Germans did that to them, us and them. That whole thing it's a dangerous game, and I didn't want that to be the narrative of the end of my last video. I didn't want to make it they did that to them. I didn't want, like, it's just that it did happen, but it happens everywhere and in a lot of different ways still today. So I just wanted to make sure I point that out. I wanted to make sure you guys are aware that othering is a dangerous game to play. Where did he take her, sister? Please just Jesus tell me he took her home. Fuck. Sins that your ancestors committed. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Them being punished for the ancestors of these sins of their ancestors. Sorry for that blunder. This is gonna trigger me if I am not careful.
私はこのマーレチアン局の男が嘘をついていることが分かった。彼らは仕事をサボってこの男たちにへりくだった。私は父にこの男にめまいのするような憎しみを覚え。
1820 years ago, so almost like, 2,000 years ago, Jesus did this and this and this. It sounds like some kind of, fable. 1820 years ago. Oh, so this is the evil, this is the sin. Our ancestor Ymir, Fritz, made a contract with the devil and obtained the power of the Titans. So it's a religious story, and the power comes from a demon, a devil. Okay. After defeating the great nation, I'm shaking. The great nation of Marley, they ruled over the continent. So the Titans. But the once great nation of Marley plotted to subvert Eldia and its arrogance from within. Our ancestors were abandoned and left behind on this continent, but the gracious people of Marley let us live. So the oppressed has become the oppressor. Interesting. told you guys it was gonna get triggered.
朝のフェイと同じ目に合わせないでくれ。
間違っているのはどちらだろうか。おそらく両方だろう。私は無知で愚かで。
I just want to explain quickly before people start, oh, what a fake bitch, what a fake bitch, because I know that it's not nothing, like, yes, she died. It's just kind of sad because I was raised in South Africa, a white person raised in South Africa, and a lot of white farmers are being murdered right now because they're being punished for the sins of their forefathers. And it's not like these people are just being murdered. They're not being forced to live somewhere and forced to, like, wear sashes and shit. These people are being murdered after taking care of our country for, like, a long time. Like, these are the people that manage the farms and you know, grow our food, and their children are being boiled alive, the women are being raped, the men are being skinned and killed. They're being punished for, you know, shit that happened, I don't know, 200 years ago. Do you understand? Like, that's why I knew this is gonna trigger me.
これは同胞の証です。同胞？そんなことが。
妹の事件の真相を知ったとき、ここ
What was the truth? Okay, well, I'd rather be eaten alive by dogs. I thought she was raped and thrown over the bridge.
本当の悪魔はどちらか教えてやる。
I'd show them who the real devil was.
我々の祖先がやったことは正しかったのだ。マーレ政府の内通者はフクロウと呼ばれ、姿を
And so the cycle continues.
人々を豊かにし、この大陸を発展させたんだ。俺たちが教わった歴史は全て俺に都合のいい。しかしグリシャ、そんなことすぐにわかるだろう。なぜなら俺は始祖ユミルを信じている。俺たちは選ばれし神の子、ユミルの民だ。
私はダイナ・フリッツと申します。王家の血を引く者です。
王家だけが持つ巨人の情報を復権派にもたらした。
Information that only one group of people knew? She told it to you? That's not dangerous at all.
王家だけが持つ巨人の情報を復権派にもたらした。
当時の王は巨人対戦時、大陸内の力の均衡を保つという役目を放棄し、辺境の島に都を移したのです。私たちのこの惨めな日々は、王が争いから目を背けたことから始まったのです。
王子諸君よ、マーレを打倒し、エルディアの誇りを取り戻すのだ。
男子を授かった。名はジーク。
Oh, yes, that makes sense because so they have the same father. Obviously, if Zeke was too young to be Grisha's brother, but that there was that possibility still that he could have been Grisha's younger brother. So that was my thought. But of course, I didn't even consider the option that if it was Aaron's brother, other brother, obviously he'd have a different mother.
世の中が急速に発展していくこと。エルディア復権派。
That's the photo! The Marley government needed subjects of Ymir, the Marley government, to serve as vessels for the 9 titans and become Marleyan warriors. We will be selecting warriors from various zones around the continent. If chosen, their family will be granted the title of honorary Marleyans.
戦士を募ったのだ。
莫大な化石燃料を埋蔵するパラディ島は決して無視できるものでは。
A massive cache of fossil fuel lies beneath Paradis.
決して無視できるものではなくなった。今後我々に干渉するなら壁に潜む幾千万の巨
The millions upon millions of titans in the walls will flatten the entire world. In the walls will flatten the entire world. Is this a lie? Oh. A bluff? The founding titan, which Eren has the power of the founding titan. You can't use that power properly unless you have someone of royal blood. But this is all kind of like fantasy, because what makes a person's blood royal? How is a royal person's blood different from the average person's blood? And a devil gave them this power? Sounds like our own history. Jonah was eaten by a whale and was spit out, and burning bush, and it sounds like those. We have those stories, so it's not that difficult to understand their stories. But bitch, this guy, he looks familiar. How terrible the sin to besmirch one's beliefs on your children. Oh, it's the same. Oh. Is he the owl? Wait, what? Oh, the smiling titan, the one that ate Eren's mom, Hannes too, right? Is that just bed hair? Why now? Why now, of all times? It's this guy. He was also a titan that I remember. It's like, if you think about it on a very crude level, you know how people like watching fights? The best and a simile I think I can give is like, you know, boxing matches. You know, both people are getting hurt, but everyone's screaming, cheering. And what makes this obviously different, because this is not two people willingly taking part in a fight or anything, is that this man does not see them as anything other than devils, because their people were oppressed by their people, and now they've become the oppressors. So they've been blinded to the humanity of others because of what other people did. So he just sees it like a entertainment, like a boxing match. Like,
平和ってのは大変結構なことだが、何か物足りんのだろうな。生の実感ってやつか。俺はその日を受け入れる心構えがある。なぜならこうやって残酷な世界と向き合い、理解を深めているからだ。まあ言いたいことはわかる。もし息子が同じ目にあったらと思うと胸が締め付けられる。エルディア人でさえなければな。見ろ、巨人の
it is that Titan.
吸収しただけで巨大な化け物になる。心が痛むわけないだろう。お前ら復権派は俺たちマーレに何をしようとした。心は痛まなかったのか。偉大な歴史があったんだろ。下にいる友達と語り合うといい。やめろ、だからな。そうだ。
How ironic, he was just talking about all of this. I'm ready to face it when that day comes. Well, let's see how you face it then. Let's see how you face the cruelty of this world.
どうだ、これが面白いと思うか。あんたは俺がフクロウだ。巨人の力はこうやって使う。
And that's how Grisha got his power. Makes me think of Tokyo Ghoul a little bit. Skip ahead like 2 minutes if you haven't watched Tokyo Ghoul, but it's a similar thing that happens there. Some bad ghouls murder other people, and then those people retaliate against the ghouls because they don't think bad ghouls killed, you know, my family. They just they generalize. Ghouls are killers. And then those humans, understandingly, after losing their family, retaliate against ghouls because ghouls kill their family, so they retaliate against the generalized, the other, the whole group. And then they kill innocent ghouls. And then other innocent ghouls lose their family and they retaliate against humans, and it becomes this whole cycle of anger and pain and suffering. And it just keeps going on like that. And honestly, episode 8 of Tokyo Ghoul summarizes this so beautifully, better than I ever could. Kaneki's character is the voice for that message in episode 8 of Tokyo Ghoul, so I do recommend anyone that hasn't watched that yet, definitely do. A Titan's power revealed by Grisha's past. The men's fierce desire to pursue freedom is passed on to Eren. Whoa. This is what makes Attack on Titan so good, is that it is more than just a fun little anime. It is a warning. As easy as it is and as helpful as it is to label people, that religion, that religion, that race, that age, that gender, that sexuality, that. As easy as it is, and as much as we love to label ourselves, I am an artist, I am a Christian, I am this, because we find ourselves in our labels, in our identity. We love labeling and identifying and feeling we belong to some group and this and that and that. So it's not that othering in itself is evil or anything, because we do it to ourselves. We love identifying and establishing an identity for ourselves. As much as we hate being put into a box by others, you know, we label ourselves anyway. We're proud of our history and our religion and our gender. I'm a woman, women's empowerment. But how often is it that the oppressed becomes the oppressor, and then enough time goes by that it seems like the oppressor has always been the oppressor, and the oppressed, who were the oppressors, then becomes the oppressors to those that oppressed them. And then enough time goes by that everyone forgets that, because we alter history, and the most powerful one in the end is the one that establishes this is history and this is how it should be told, and so, you know, just it keeps going on and on and on. And I am sorry for crying, having my little breakdown earlier. It's just that there's a little part of me that's still like, I have learned a lot. I don't want to get too into it, but I've learned a lot, and I've learned to not get too caught up in these oppressor, victimizer, victimizing, I don't know, whatever. I've become detached to these narratives because of the cycle, but there was just this part of me that started crying because I felt guilty and relieved to just see that, because I was raised to, like, by being told that white people in South Africa are these awful, demonic things that forced apartheid onto other people and da da da. But if you really don't just look at, you know, the one-sided history that explains the one side of apartheid, if you look even further back and you look how even the tribes that did exist in South Africa before it was colonized, if you look at how the Zulu tribes oppressed and eradicated other tribes. They were the same skin color, but they were different cultures. You know, you have lots of cultures in South Africa, Zulu, Xhosa, and all these different tribes. They lived here before, and if you look at the history, like, Shaka Zulu was this war hero, but if you look at the things he did, he murdered thousands upon thousands of people, women included, children included. He sold them into slavery too, used them as slaves, because these were other people, it wasn't his people. They were the Zulu, they were all the other tribes, and they treated each other. You know, it's othering and oppressing is not part of any one race or religion. It just happens when a human being becomes power hungry. And those tribes in South Africa, like now, white farmers and their farm workers are being murdered for owning land that apparently was stolen 100, 200 years ago. Even though they have since legally bought the land from whoever owned it before them and whoever owned it before them. If you keep going back further, the land was probably stolen at some point, but then it was bought legally and bought legally and bought legally and bought legally and bought legally, and now people owning it now are being murdered, their children boiled alive. Like I said, these aren't murders, these are slaughters. And not just the white farmers, even the farm workers, regardless of their color, are all being murdered too, because they're now being punished for what people stole like 100 years ago, whatever. But if you think about it, that land, who owned that? Like, the tribes killed each other for that land. Shaka Zulu stole land, enslaved people. So do you think he got to own that land legally? So who does the land really belong to? As far as I'm aware, one or two tribes, one or two kinds of people were totally eradicated. So now they got to own the land and they should own it now because they killed all the other people that owned it before them? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? And now, and it happens all over. It's happened. History is littered with these horrifying stories of groups of people. I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm saying it's dangerous to make it us versus them, but we do that. We do that so naturally. It's such a nice part of life. Saying, I'm an otaku. It's kind of, labeling is fun. Identifying is fun. You find so much, so like people find power in their religion. People and their culture, their ethnicity. People find strength in that. But how it's so easy to make that is so easy. It's like you can do that as much as you want, but you can't it's dangerous to do that up to a point where you look just at the labels and miss the fact that the labels are on top of the human inside, you know? And once you have started doing that and you have started killing people, not because of what they did, but because of what their label. I understand. Let's talk about Tokyo Ghoul again, for example. Please just click out if you haven't watched Tokyo Ghoul. I don't want to worry about having to say things in a way that doesn't spoil. Or go watch Tokyo Ghoul and come back, at least up to episode 8. I understand. I don't condone it, but I understand if a ghoul killed your family, I understand wanting revenge. I understand wanting to go kill that person. If a ghoul killed your family, I understand wanting to go kill that ghoul. If it's the other way around, let's say Hinami's mother was killed by a dove whose family was killed by a ghoul. So I understand wanting to take revenge for the innocent life that was lost. The same that guy was trying to right the wrongs that was made against his family, but he killed the wrong. Like, I understand if you know this person raped and murdered my little sister, I can understand wanting to kill that person. If they fucking raped and killed your little sister, yeah, do I think they deserve to die? Probably. Should they be killed? I don't know. That I can't tell you. I can understand wanting to kill them. I can even say, probably I would do it. I would say, yes, do it. But in the same way that Hinami didn't want to kill the guy that killed her mother. She just said, all I want is my mother back. She didn't get lost in the revenge part, because that in itself is just as dangerous. You lose a little bit of your humanity, even if you kill someone for the right reasons. It's even though you can understand that, all of this, the moment that you don't want to kill someone because of what they did. They never killed but their kind killed your little sister, you know? That is dangerous. That we need to address those kinds of thoughts in ourselves and realize where to draw the line when it comes to labeling and othering and all that kind of shit. It's not about... There's so much I want to say, I just don't know where to start. Like Grisha said when he was little, him and his sister didn't do any of those things. How can they be punished for what their ancestors did? But then his hate for those people, his pain, festered so much that he became that which he hated so much. He stopped looking at that guy killed my little sister, and he made it about those people, them. He othered it. And I talked about this during my Tokyo Ghoul reactions as well, and said, if a person that looks just like you, they're the same religion, they're the same race, they're the same gender, if a person just like you killed your little sister, it's going to be very hard. You're going to be mad at that person for the rest of your life. But if a person of a different skin color, a person of a different religion killed your sister, it automatically, and understandably, you can understand that, like that kind of distraught mind, your mind gets fucked, and it's not anymore someone killed my sister. It is an Indian Christian with a red hat killed my sister. Well, red hat is, but you understand what I'm saying? It becomes Indian Christian, I don't know, doctor. And then what is the, when you see another Indian person, like, it becomes this thing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not good at wording this, and that's why I write reviews before I talk. I write blogs and shit, because sometimes talking, it doesn't make sense. I'm just, you know what? Let's just keep watching the anime, because I'm sure it'll show us the dangers. I'm just saying, the moment that you start looking at a label and not at a person, if you forget about the person underneath, it's a dangerous game to play. Like, I remember saying something about the farm murders happening in South Africa. I remember saying something about that, and then someone said, yeah, but do you think it was fair of them to steal the land? Do you think it was fair of them to own that land? Like, okay, excuse me, did you just overlook the fact that someone was just, like, brutally murdered, and you just focused on the fact that they stole the land? But excuse me, no, they didn't. They bought the land legally. The people before that bought it. Like, they're so focused on trying to right this unjustness that happened 100 years ago. They're forgetting humans that did nothing of the sort. They just got fucking brutally murdered, but you're focusing on something that happened 100 years ago that people did that they had nothing to do with. That's why I cried in this episode, because that's happening today. When I was younger, I felt like a bad person because of, like, how dare my ancestors have done what they did? How dare they? Like, of course people, like, what did you expect was gonna happen? Like, people would like, crime and murder, hate crimes like that would happen, like these farm murders, and like, when I was 14, 15, like, I would think, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, you forget that those were just humans that didn't have anything to do with that. I was like that because that's what we were taught. That's the history we're learning. It's not on a level like the Eldians were taught, but we're constantly bombarded with apartheid. It's our history. We should take responsibility for what our ancestor did. And I was raised with that. Like, I felt, like I said earlier, I felt guilty and relieved at the same time, because a part of me that guilt existed because of what I was taught. And not only the guilt, but the relief that I can see, like Grisha said, I didn't do anything. Why should I be the one to pay for something other people did? They didn't do it because of their skin color. They used their skin color as an excuse. They saw themselves as superior, not like, it's not that white people see themselves as superior. It is those people at that time saw themselves as superior, because, and they used their label as that whatever. But it's not like you're born and people with a white skin automatically sees themselves as superior. There are people of other races in South Africa today that see themselves as superior because they were taught a different history. Now they see themselves as superior and they see other people, white people, as the devil for what white people back then did, but they didn't do it because they were white. They did it because they were bad people. Just something. And now I'm so fucking glad that I'm turning the comments off for this video, as I've done for all my other Attack on Titan videos this season, because otherwise in the comment section there were people be totally ignoring the fact this fucking anime, and there would have been people telling me, but your people did this and this and this, and that's why you're getting this now, because that's what people are doing. They're overlooking the farm murders. They're saying you're getting what you deserve. There's actually people saying that. So I'm so glad, because I don't have the time or the energy to argue with people like that. Okay, well, this is why this anime is my #1 favorite anime ever. It is like this big fucking warning, and it's told in such an amazing way with such amazing characters. And to the writer, thank you for showing people their own shit. If I can, thank you for just enlightening us. Don't continue the cycle. Somewhere it has to end. We should stop trying to punish people now and right wrongs that was like, there's a level of righting wrongs, of course, depending on how far back, like you can right wrongs up to a point, but where does it stop? Like when, how? We should start thinking of how to move forward, not how to fix the past. It's a very subtle difference, but it's a very important one. And the most important part, don't look at other people, other humans, don't other so much. Okay, I wish I could say all of this better, and I wish I could say it with a little less emotion, because I know that emotion puts up walls, and if I fight against something and I sound like I'm fighting against it, if I'm fighting against something emotionally, it makes other people put up walls and they're less likely to listen. So I'm sorry that I am very emotional about this. It is something that touches me on a very personal level. So yeah, I hope that other people can talk about it better than me, and that's what this anime does. It talks about it without using the same things. Like no one is defensive, because this is not our history, this is their history, so we can just learn from that and not become defensive. And yeah, so I hope that, yeah, I do hope that a lot of people learn from this story, and that we learn from it and we start looking towards solutions to how to work together without doing what Grisha ended up doing, and what the Marlians, like that cycle needs to stop somewhere. Okay, thank you guys for listening to me ramble and for watching anime with me. I really appreciate it.